He had been planning this trip for years. It had always been his dream to explore the Amazon rainforest, not only for personal reasons. His research would greatly benefit from what samples he could find and bring back with him. Dr. Finstead had always been an avid traveler, but convincing his wife, Dr. Wu, to come along for the ride hadn't been easy. She wasn't much for the exploring lifestyle. Nonetheless, here they were, in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, on a little adventure of their own. Not to forget, their 3-year-old Kara had also come along. At the last minute, the arrangements they had made for her had fallen through, and they were left with no other option but to bring her along. Thankfully, it hadn't been much hassle at all, and she seemed to be having the time of her life. As the day wore on, they soon came to realize that they wouldn't be reaching their planned resting spot on time. They had gotten turned around sometime earlier in the day, and therefore were behind schedule.
I think we'll have to camp here for the night.
His wife gave him a concerned look. The land here wasn't very dry. In fact, it was downright damp, but there was nothing for it. This would have to do. As the sun set, the forest took on a darker, more malicious tone. The fire they had lit to cook their dinner cast looming shadows all around them. The night brought a whole host of different creatures out, and with them, a different type of fear. Kara came over to sit with them by the small fire. She was damp and dirty. It was practically impossible to keep her dry and clean in this environment, and they had long since given up trying. When they reached a dry campsite, she'd have a nice bath, and any problems could be dealt with as they became known. For now, her previous deworming and anti-parasitic medicines would have to suffice. Kara lay down by his side, quietly content. He smiled to himself and looked up at her reflection on the trees. What was that on her back? He looked down at Kara, but there was nothing. She slept soundly by his side. He had been sure he saw something moving on her back.
Did you see that?
His wife shot back a quizzical look. Perhaps it was nothing, just his imagination. He pet her head gently as she slept. The next morning came, and they continued on their hike. It was still a fair way to the camp, but they would easily reach it now that they were already more than halfway there. The hot sun beat down upon them. The canopy of the rainforest, though, provided much-needed shelter. The humidity and wet ground made for a tough hike, however. They reached a small village. Though it was no hotel, it would be nice to not be sleeping on the ground tonight. Dr. Wu had stated the first thing she needed was a hot bath. He wasn't sure how warm the water would be, but by this point, any shower would do. And why not make it a family event? Kara surely could use the bath as well. The three stepped into the outdoor shower. The cool water beating off their skin was bliss. He bent down to give Kara a good scrub. That's when he saw it. Her hair. It was moving on its own. It changed shape, curled and straightened at his mere touch. He pulled his hand back in disgust. What was in her fur? He turned to show his wife when he saw her shadow on the shower walls. Her hair was dancing and moving like a snake.
Your hair!
He screamed as he pointed at her. She slowly turned around, her hair waving like Medusa herself. Welcome back. Today I bring you SCP-189, Hair-Imitating Parasite. Please remember to subscribe.
The next thing we knew, we were here, locked up.
Dr. Finstead, you're not locked up. We're here to help you.
Oh, I know. And I appreciate it. Sorry, just being a little dramatic.
Understandable. We'll try to make your stay with us as painless and as quick as possible.
This thing is nasty. Why is it always worms?
You better be careful with that, Shen. Wouldn't want that little guy munching through your perfectly styled hair.
I know you're being sarcastic, but I sense that jealousy, Doc. Back to business. So, this little guy latches onto your skin, starts feeding off your hair, and eventually replaces it?
Essentially, yes.
That's pretty creepy. But otherwise, no side effects?
So far, no. None that we've seen. It might actually not be an SCP.
Just sounds like a parasite, really.
Let's speak to the doctors and see how they're progressing, shall we?
And Kara. Don't forget Kara. Chen and Klaus walked into the containment cell. The dog! Kara had been completely shaven. though in actual fact, only 20% of her hair had remained by the time they had reached the Foundation. The other 80% had been replaced by the parasite.
Is this funny to you?
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Dr. Feinstead, how are you today? It's always nice to talk to another doctor.
Shove your manners. When are we getting out of here?
Finstead's attitude had taken a severe shift from the days before. His always pleasant manner had seemingly been replaced with one of agitation and anger.
We're doing our best.
Are you really? You've shaved my dog, you've shaved my wife, you've shaved me. Why aren't we free to go?
We'll need to conduct some more tests and ensure you're all totally clean, and then we can let you go.
Get a move on, would ya?
Klaus pulled Chen aside.
He seems different today.
You mean he's a total a-hole now?
Well, I mean, yeah.
I think he needs to be shaved. Head to toe.
We've done that. He's not infected.
Who said anything about being infected? Guy needs to be taught a lesson. Again.
Not very professional of you, Agent Chen. But perhaps you have a point. Better safe than sorry. We'll have to give them the once over again. At least then we can release them.
You know, burning that hair off would be more efficient.
Now, you're just being spiteful.
Dr. Finstead looked up at them with a sullen look upon his face.
Do you know how long it took me to grow this beard? I told you before, and you even agreed. I wasn't infected.
Well, seems like a little shave didn't do much for his mood.
I'm sorry, Doctor, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah, when can we go?
Very soon. You're free to move about the facility for the time being.
Great. Wonderful.
He scratched his freshly shaven cheek. Underneath his nails, a small red bump was forming. An agent came rushing into Klaus's office.
Sir, we have a situation in the cafeteria. What is it? What's happened? Dr. Feinstead. Well, he's lost his marbles.
They saw Finstead, pinned to the ground by an agent.
Let me go.
What's going on here? He went nuts. Attacked a D-class for no reason. All right, let him up.
As he got to his feet, he scratched his face again. More red raised bumps had formed. Klaus looked at him for a moment, deep in thought. Then it struck him.
Quarantine everyone who's had contact with Dr. Feinstead. What is it, sir? Just do it now.
Interesting seeing you on the other side of the glass, Doc.
Very funny.
Love the hairstyle too.
Yeah, laugh it up, Chen. Just count your lucky stars that you managed to avoid this.
Explain it to me, Doc. What the hell happened? I thought Finstead was clean.
He was, and he wasn't. When we shaved him, we removed all visible forms of the parasite.
Visible?
What happens when you shave too close?
Cuts?
Ingrown hairs. And we shaved him close. Twice.
So that means the parasite. It grew inwards?
Exactly. His attitude shifts. Who knows what the worm is feeding off now?
SCP-189 is a species of parasitic roundworm capable of infesting any mammalian life form. Infection most commonly occurs as a result of direct skin contact with one or more egg sacs. Over the course of 2 to 3 days, the larva grows larger and develops into an adult. Adult 189 specimens grow only in length, extruding a tail which incorporates some of the pigments and keratin from the cells they consume into an outer cuticle. This, combined with the fact that the diameter of a specimen's tail is usually similar to that of the hair that would normally grow from the host follicle, causes 189 to be visually indistinguishable from a normal hair, except upon microscopic inspection. However, some specimens will occasionally flex, coil, and uncoil, and/or lash their tail, particularly in response to tactile stimulation. The tail can be cut or broken, or the entire organism pulled out, by any method that would similarly affect hair. Severed sections of an adult's tail can grow a new head and regenerate into a separate individual, but only if they can attach to a suitable host. Samples of 189 are to be stored in cryo-containment facility, with any surplus destroyed by incineration. Test subjects infected with 189 are to be kept in a sealed containment chamber with an airlock that includes a chemical shower. Personnel interacting with test subjects must wear standard NBC hazard suits throughout their time inside the containment chamber. When test subjects expire or are terminated, their remains must be sealed in an airtight container or body bag, which is subjected to the same chemical shower as the personnel carrying it out of the containment chamber and disposed of by incineration.
Mood swings can be caused by many things. Hunger, past trauma, simply waking up on the wrong side of the bed. When someone yells at you, try to remain calm. You never know what could be hurting them.
As always, have a care and remember to subscribe, like, and share, if you would. Until next time, farewell.